Three, two, one. Rhiannon Clarke, thank you for joining me on episode 36. Like I had to check. I've had to backlog a whole bunch of podcasts because obviously you see my partner's pregnant. We're expecting a baby quite soon. So
congratulations.
Thank you very much. So I'm banking up a whole bunch of podcasts and I'm going through them so many of them at the moment that's losing track of how many I'm up to. So thank you for joining me. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
That's good. Before we get started with the conversation, just give listeners a little bit of a spell on who you are, why you're here, elevator pitch.
So I'm a Paralympian. So I compete in the 100 and 400 meters T38, which is the cerebral palsy classification. I've also competed at the Commonwealth Games and I got a silver medal back in 2018. I've done world champs and I got 2 bronze medals. And then, Paralympics was my debut in 2021.
Wow, well, congratulations on all those achievements. So we get stuck into it. So when did you kind of get started into the athletic space?
Yes, I got started when I was about 12 years old. I went to a Parathletics come Tri Day. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think where I would be able to go, but I just wanted to give the sport a go and I really enjoyed it. And I was identified as having talent to go to the Paralympics. So it was, that's how it started.
That's what. Yeah. Did you know from that one try that you had a bit of talent or it's athletics, you're running, but how do you have talent? You know what I mean? It's kind of a weird kind of concept to kind of get.
Yeah, I think I kind of realized that I had potential to improve and competing against able bodies in primary school actually did pretty well. So I think that made me realize, maybe I'd be good in the para world. So yeah, I've definitely improved a lot from when I started. Yeah.
So going from your, when you first started to now, what kind of improvements is it? Is it more technique of the running, race strategy as well? How have the improvements kind of come about?
Yeah, I definitely think race strategy is very important. Definitely my technique, it's improved a lot from using my arms and my legs and knee lift, of course, that's definitely improved. And my block starts, which is very important for the 100. So it's taken me a long time to improve all these things and I've got a lot more to improve on. But yeah, I think it's, taken a long time, but still getting there.
And obviously race strategy is very different from 100 meters to the 400. 400, I'll probably say 400, but almost that 800, probably the two of the hardest events, probably in my mind. That's probably around the right.
Oh yeah, no, everyone says the 400, it's just the tough event and everyone in the sporting community, they just realize you've just got to be so gutsy to be able to do the 400. It definitely takes a lot of mental preparation. It's not definitely just physical. It's really hard on you mentally because you have to sprint a whole entire lap. So it's crazy. It's a lot of people don't expect someone to do both 100 and 400, but I went out and proved them wrong. I did both at the Paralympics and did pretty well in both. So I think that's great.
Was it always 100 meters and then 400 or did you kind of add the 400 on later?
I think, it was more just the 100 meters at the start. Well, when I was younger, I tried every single event. I was that kid who did throwing and I was really bad at it, but I just wanted to give it all a go. But I think I definitely preferred the shorter stuff when I was younger because I wasn't as confident for the 400. And then I qualified for the Com Games for the 100 because that's all they had. So I think it was definitely a lot more of a focus on the 100. And then when we knew Tokyo was going to have the 400, I think that's when we kind of expanded and started training for that a bit more.
Because obviously sprinting is very technical.
Yes.
Especially the 100 meters is very technical. Does it the same concept flow over to the 400 where it's just as technical but just longer? Or is it more just run as fast as I can and hold on?
It's definitely technical for the 400. You still need to make sure you've got knee lift and stuff and also running the race as well. You've got to be very tactical as well with how you run it because you can't just go full out for the whole entire way. You've got to be kind of tactical along with that. But it's quite different to the 100 where you're going full out for the whole entire thing and your top speed is definitely a lot faster than the 4.
Yeah, that's it. The 100 is not as, don't even really need a strategy for that 100 because it's just go fast as I can.
Yeah, literally you just go as fast as you can. You need to kind of have a bit of a drive phase at the start and then kind of get up running, but I feel like that just comes naturally. You don't really think about it as much.
And body structure takes takes into account a little bit in terms of the block start? Because obviously Usain Bolt wasn't very good at the blocks because he was so tall.
Yeah. So I
Whereas a
think I'm
shorter
pretty
person.
lucky because I'm pretty short. So the blocks are pretty good for me. So yeah, it definitely does. But he did amazing. So I feel like it can
Does your
shows
top
anyone.
speed suffer because you're so short?
I don't necessarily know. I do have a really fast, like when my legs move, they hit the ground very fast. So I've got that pretty good. So I don't know. I think, looking at different people racing, some people take like bigger strides, of course, because they're taller. So I don't know. I think because I've got the speed in me, it kind of helps me. Yeah.
A natural gift.
Yeah. Yes. I'm very lucky with that. Yes.
Very lucky.
Yeah.
I like to think of myself as speed, but with the weight kind of cancels out. Because I used to weigh around 79 kilos, and I still think my body still remembers what it's like to be that weight, and I move kind of nimble. So a bit of background on me, I do a little bit of martial arts, and I'm a strength and conditioning coach as well. So I work down at East Fremantle Sharks, just down the road here. So so I do have a little bit of background in strength and conditioning, like a bit of. I don't want to say that I work a lot on speed because that's probably doing disservice to you and your coaches, but we have to do a little bit of kind of speed training.
Yeah.
Like with sleds. We utilize all the sled pushes and stuff like that to get.
Yeah, that definitely involves speed. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you don't actually go fast on the sleds. You have to more the acceleration,
power and stuff. Yeah.
The power and speed. We have one guy. So the biggest test for speed athletes in AFL or the waffle is the 20-meter sprint. And the gold standard is sub 3 seconds. So if you can get to 2.7, I think is what they look at to be pretty good. Do you have a 20-meter time or?
No, I actually don't. I feel like just do it in training. Don't really look at the times as much. And then the shortest I compete in running is like 60 meters. So I don't even know what that time is for 60.
So it's probably a bit of a question. Do you train both events, like 100 meter and the 400 meters simultaneously, or do you kind of go through phases in how you prepare?
Yeah, it's a bit random for me. For Tokyo, we definitely focused on the 100 more because that was the event I was chosen for first because the medals from World Champs. So 400 was kind of on the side a bit. I also had like a lot of like kind of a few like injury type things in the lead up. So I couldn't really do running training for the 400. So I actually trained all of my 400 meter training on a bike, like a watt bike. So it was pretty cool to be able to make a Paralympic final doing training on a bike. Yeah.
Wild.
So it's pretty random. But now I think also with Com Games this year, probably focus a bit more on the one. So I think we just kind of had to steer clear of doing a bunch of running. So my 400 just had to just suffer a bit by doing the bike sessions.
So would there be a 400 at the Com Games?
No, so Commonwealth Games, they are very particular with what events they have. They only have a few para events. So I'm very lucky for my classification to have an event. So we have the 100. I think most para classifications just get one, which I'm glad that we have an event, which is quite nice. But it'd be nicer if they had more events, include more para athletes.
Yeah, is that just because they don't have the numbers to do 400?
Yeah, I think so. Because it's just the Commonwealth countries. So there's definitely not as many like para athletes in the Commonwealth countries. So hopefully maybe in the future years they might include a bunch more para events, which would be pretty cool to see.
Would you choose the 100 over the 400?
I feel like I would, depending on the schedule. I feel like I could do both, but Tokyo's schedule was perfect because it was a week apart. But if it was the 400 right before, I probably wouldn't have done it.
So the schedules are different.
Yeah, so each competition they change the schedule all the time.
That seems
like World Champs, they literally had 400, then 100, then 200, 3 days in a row. So it definitely changes.
It obviously because the length of the tournaments.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because the Paralympics was definitely longer.
2 weeks.
Yeah, it was about 2 weeks. Yeah, for athletics it was a bit less, but yeah,
it's wild because obviously it makes a massive difference if you're world champ 400 because you don't know because you could just run the 400 and not have to do the 100.
Yeah,
then
exactly.
Go into the Paralympics, you can have more time to prepare for the 100. And
exactly. Yeah, we had quite a few athletes do both 1 and 4 in Tokyo, which was quite cool to be able to like see them. There was some people I beat in the 100, but then they beat me in the 400. So it was pretty interesting.
So what kind of phase of training are you in?
Right now, I feel like it's kind of a bit more of a general prep. I'm doing some comps. I did state champs last weekend, which was good. But like running decent times in the lead up to Com Games, definitely not peaking at the moment. Got a lot more time to get there. Training is just, bit of power stuff and bit faster speed sessions at the track. Yeah.
So breaking down a season, I guess, would you go, is it you pick out a competition that you want to go to? Is that kind of how it works? And then you work back a couple of weeks?
Exactly. Yeah. So we have like, different phases of training. We have a harder week and then it gets lighter and then it goes up to comp week and then it kind of goes back again. Yeah. So it's definitely, my training is structured around competition.
Right. And do you pick at the start of the year, do you pick out how many number of competitions you want to compete at?
Yeah.
Or
usually,
do you just kind of go, as many as I'll do all of them?
Nah, definitely choose like certain amounts of competitions because I don't want to burn myself out. I didn't actually start competing till literally February and the competition season started last year, like October. So definitely took my time there to start up and probably only got one more state like local competition on and then we've got nationals. So really didn't get many comps in this season, but that's kind of what we wanted.
When you say this season, was that last year?
Yeah, so this season for athletics runs about like October till about March, the like local season.
Through summer.
Yeah, through summer. And then we have nationals at the end of that.
Okay. And then through winter, that period, is there anything to do?
Well, for winter, I've got Com Games. So yes, the training is going to be very different. So it's not going to be a full winter training program. Probably start that about after nationals and then and then we're going to have to get ready for Com Games. So it's going to be very interesting short turnaround.
Right. So if there wasn't a comms game, what does a winter kind of period look like?
A winter is definitely a lot of like harder reps, definitely go heavy in the gym and a bit longer reps with a little bit less recovery. So really working in like lactic and stuff like that.
Right. So even if you 100-meter sprint, you still have to do work on the lactic.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that would kind of help my 400 a bit. Okay. But then also, for prep for the 100 during winter, could go up to like 150s or 200s and stuff like that.
So going back, your first major competition, what was that? And did you compete in the 100?
That was Com Games. That was 2018.
Your first competition was Com Games?
Well, my first international competition,
So you obviously had to qualify.
Yeah, so I had probably been doing athletics for about, I think it was about 4 years before that. So definitely just small competitions and nationals and stuff. And then somehow at like 2017 nationals, I got a qualifier for Com Games. Was not expecting it at all.
Yeah, wow.
And then I just kept improving. And then by the time I got Com Games, between my nationals time and my Com Games time, I took off about 0.43, which is a lot of time to take off your PB. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's because obviously cool. it's a game of inches or milliseconds.
Literally, yeah. It sounds like something so small, but then it's so quite a lot. Yeah. Just even taking off 0.01, that's pretty nice to take off.
Because there's 100 meters and it's you're so short the distance. Yeah. And then obviously the time has to be really short.
Yeah, it definitely does. And then there's a tiny gap between you and like your competitor and you could literally just like snap your fingers and that's the time. Yeah. So there
was some wild stat. I'm not sure if it was in racing or sprints or swimming or stuff like that, but there was some crazy stat that it was someone who won the gold medal and someone who came like last. There was like 0.0 something seconds between it all.
It's so crazy. And then I also do photo finish like as volunteering at like local competitions. So even seeing that on the photo finish, like it's tiny like gap between like the pictures of the athletes and stuff, and you have to kind of measure what time they get. It's quite an interesting process to learn.
So you do that, you see it on the little computer and you look at the lines.
Yeah. So when I started, I didn't actually realize how they got your time for the race. Mm-hmm. But it's pretty interesting. Someone takes a photo and it takes like really high speed pictures and then another person has to move the line to like where you measure from. It's So that's why results take a while to come up. I think a lot of athletes don't realize that.
Yeah. So you do that for just a local?
Yeah, I just help out when I'm not competing because if it's like a 200 meter night, I'll just help out because I don't really do as many 200s. And I feel like it's just a good way to give back and I feel like it's nice to help out and learn. I feel like all athletes should probably learn the process that happens behind the scene because it makes you really like grateful for what the officials do.
Do you have a moment in your career where you're most grateful?
Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm just grateful for like my whole career. I feel like it's been a pretty awesome one, but I'm definitely grateful for all the support I've had from family, coaches, other athletes. Everyone in the athletics community is very nice. And then, yeah, just everyone who helps run the competitions because we can't run competitions without help. So it's pretty good.
The volunteers and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you're one yourself. Do you kind of like your race strategy in mental prep? How do you kind of prepare yourself mentally for a race?
Yeah, I feel like I definitely now I have a pretty good process compared to like what I did at Com Games. I was very nervous for Com Games. Being a 15-year-old going out there on the
Well, you're
international
15.
stage. Yeah, I was 15. So I was, I think, the third youngest on the athletics team. And then I was the youngest Australian to get a medal at that games. And I was also, I think, the youngest para-athlete out of all the countries to medal, which was pretty
The
nice.
youngest
Yeah,
athlete.
out of all the countries. So
All of the countries.
all the
Oh my
countries.
God.
Yes, that was pretty cool.
Geez, that would have been. Did you feel like? Were you nervous because you had that title? Like,
Going into it, I
didn't know.
kind of wasn't really planning on getting a silver medal. I feel like I was planning on third or fourth, maybe, like with my time going in. So I feel like it was a big shock, but I think it was a nice surprise to get a medal. Yeah,
I bet
so-
it would be.
Yeah, definitely the preparation for that was involving me just like freaking out and be like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? Oh my gosh, how did I get here? Luckily it was a home game, so I actually got to like spend time with my family
Brisbane,
before the
right?
race. Yeah, it was Gold Coast. Yeah, so it was pretty good to be able to have my family and like friends and stuff like around me supporting me and just a home crowd as well. That was pretty nice. But hearing the roar of the crowd when I stepped out, that was definitely something like unimaginable. Like you just can't describe it to anyone. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
And
bet-
like the silence as well before the race. And then once you go,
yeah.
oh my
You can
gosh,
hear, like,
that
a pin drop.
literally it's I felt I could literally just feel my heart racing, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, so what are you feeling in that moment? You could feel.
Yeah, I feel like all the nerves just disappear when I'm in the
Mm.
blocks. And it's just, I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm here, I've done the preparation, I know what I'm doing, and I'm just going to go out and give it my all. I think that's all I really think.
Yeah. What do you like? Do you feel body? Because obviously when people get nervous, I feel like they get really heavy. Do you feel that?
I feel like before the race,
Yeah.
yes, but not like
You're in the blocks,
not
just
in the blocks. I
zoned
think
in.
everything just goes away and it just like, I don't know, it feels calm before the storm type
Yeah.
thing.
When you were saying before, it's very technical in racing with your running technique. When you're in the blocks and it's about to start, is it in your head, need a drive, punch, like all that sort of stuff? Or do you kind of just go into autopilot and just.
I feel like for like big competitions, I feel like it's just autopilot.
Mm.
Definitely training, I'm thinking more like
Right.
I need to do this and this. But I think comps, I kind of just trust my instincts and just go for it and give it my all. I think that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, makes
And the
sense.
technique kind of follows along as well.
So I guess you drill so much in training.
Yeah,
And you kind of
definitely.
get so like, oh God, the same
just
high
second
knee, whatever
nature.
high knee
Yeah.
is, and the same. And your coaches are on your back. You just has to be like perfect. Because
Yeah.
the more you do it and becomes autopilot.
Yeah, exactly.
So it comes into
Yeah,
racing.
definitely.
But then you would have races that you pick through the year that aren't kind of the top tier, so you can go and practice.
Yeah,
race,
exactly.
right?
Just local comps. They use that to like think about drive phase and all that stuff and knee lift and all that. So it's definitely good to have those opportunities to
Mhm.
practice and make sure you get it in your head and become second nature.
When you do those local comps, do you always, because you don't always come first, like those ones, the
Yeah.
priority isn't to win, but to more focus on that. But being a competitor, do you always want to win? And like that feeling of not winning, does it suck, or do you just have to focus,
I think
refocus?
for local competitions, because you get put in like a race against people the same speed as you. So I compete against able bodies, but they can be like 20 years old or they could be 15 years old. So
Okay.
it's very different. You get to compete against a lot of different people who have very similar speeds. So I think that's good. And it's always good to try and like come over the line as best as you can, but without tensing up and like sacrificing anything from the race. So yeah.
That's just because those local comps, they're not like they're not para qualifications.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
literally just everyone. So some para athletes might go in like the last heat, or they might go in like I usually go in like heat 2 or 3. So yeah, it's just everyone's separated. But for state comps, it's all the paras together, which I just did. And since I'm like a lot older than most of them, I came over the line first. So I had to push myself. I was pretty much just running my own race. I love versing against the paras, but yeah, it was pretty interesting just to be running my own race, and I ran a decent time for that.
So you're now older. So how old are you now?
I'm 19 now,
19
so
now.
yeah.
And you were saying you're older than some of the para.
Yes,
athletes
we've
coming
definitely
now.
got a lot of younger para
So it's a younger
athletes.
kind of crowd.
Yeah, we've got a few other para athletes in WA that reached the Paralympics as well, so it's a good community to have. But we definitely have quite a few like little up and coming athletes all around Australia. It's really awesome because the para field is growing so much compared to when I started, when there was just really just limited amount of people.
I still can't get over you were 15 at the Com Games and you won a silver medal. That's wild.
Yeah, no, that was pretty wild. That I don't think anyone expected it. I feel like my coach probably didn't even expect it at the time. So it was just came out, shocked everyone.
That's wild. And then you were saying you were talking about mentally, you were just freaking out the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's been, well, now this is going to be the 4th year because of Com Games.
Yeah.
How do you kind of now, going back to the original question, your mental preparation, so have you had to work on that?
I definitely have worked on that over time. I feel like from Com Games to World Champs then to the Paralympics, I definitely worked on preparing for the race, and I felt like my Paralympic preparation was definitely a lot better. I was a lot more calm. I was, of course, still nervous. It was the biggest race in my life. But I, really just worked on staying calm. I had a routine that I follow. I listen to music when I warm up. I kind of just ignore everyone during the day. I'm just in my own little world, a little selfish, but it all works out. And then I do like certain things before the race. I always wear my long socks during the race, which a lot of people question why I wear them, but I like them for comfort. And they
does it make it more aerodynamic, or
I don't even know. I feel like
just like the feel.
My signature look now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Just come up with your own brand on it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I should. And
you put marketing on it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I also have my hair braided.
Nice.
I plan my day to the minute. It's so
So
I
you
don't
try
want
to
to be
control
late.
each.
I control what I can control, and then anything that comes along just happens to deal with and stuff. Because I've got to make sure I get to the track on time to be able to warm up and not get late to the call room. Because if you're late by a minute, you're out. You're not allowed to compete. So it is.
You say late to the call room.
The call room, yeah. So
call room.
Call room.
Call room. Okay, I thought you said call room. Yeah.
Yeah. So in Tokyo, we had 2 call rooms. And it was about 40 minutes before the race. So you've got to sit in a room with your competitors sitting on chairs, and just got to stay in your own little bubble and just ignore them, because they're all probably really nervous as well. But you've just got to ignore them and just keep warming up and just keep moving. And it's probably one of the most toughest things, I would say, out of competing, just sitting in the call room,
that'd be
waiting
mentally
to go.
Yeah.
You just have to sit there waiting.
You can almost lose in that.
Literally, I could definitely see athletes just breaking. Yeah.
And then they do these ones their knees.
Yes, you definitely see that a lot. Yeah. I feel like in the call room, I just move around, just I don't know, just keep moving, because I'm just so nervous. Just get my mind off the race and just think about in the present. Yeah.
And music, you said just block everything out.
Yeah,
music.
Well, in the call room, you're not allowed to listen to music.
Oh,
yeah, so you're not allowed to have any devices, no watches, no phones, no communication with the outside world. So it's pretty crazy.
Isolation.
Literally is.
Because you're not talking to anyone.
Yeah, no, so you've got to just, I don't know.
Dead silence.
Block out, the sound. Yeah, exactly. Well, except in Tokyo, the officials are having good conversations, so.
Oh, really?
At least they were having fun.
Were they talking in Japanese or?
They were. I definitely could not understand them.
Oh god, that made me more nervous. Me, do I suck? They're saying,
probably looking at us and judging
they're probably doing little bets who's going to lose.
Oh yes, yeah. The officials in Japan though, they were so nice. They were. Every time they see the Australian, they're like, "G'day, mate." It's
oh, really?
So sweet. And
just
then
one line.
Yeah, literally. I feel like that's probably what they know. And then all of us athletes were going konnichiwa, probably saying it really badly, but it was cute. They liked it when we said hi to them. It was so sweet.
Oh wow. So was the cult? Did you experience much? You had the food, the culture food and stuff.
Yeah,
like that,
well, actually, we didn't actually get to eat much Japanese food. I was going to Japan, thinking oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to try traditional Japanese sushi and all these meals. But we get there and we're not allowed to go to the dining hall because Australia for the Paralympics, they were very strict on where we couldn't go because of COVID. They didn't want us to get infected. So it was a little bit sad about that. Oh. So we had to eat in our own allotment, and there wasn't really many options, but the ladies did amazing, preparing the food and stuff. I kind of got a little bit annoyed because I had baguettes every day, which was interesting.
Baguettes, bread, all that bread.
Yeah, all that bread. I know that was yeah. So it was nice food, but it was pretty much just Aussie food, which is good to keep it simple. And then
keep you in a routine.
After we competed, we actually did get to try some sushi, which was quite nice. I also tried McDonald's from Japan. It tastes the same everywhere, of course. But I thought, like, I'm in Japan, I might as well. So I ordered some Uber Eats. They didn't have it in the village, so I had to order it. Yeah, Uber Eats. Previously, they had Macca's.
You can get Uber Eats there.
Yeah, I could get Uber Eats to the village. Literally just had to go stand outside waiting for my Uber Eats.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But
it was after I competed, of course.
Oh, so before you would.
Before I competed, I just avoided that.
So after you competed, did they make you stay? It was like, I think, was it 24 hours and they sent you out?
So it was very different for the Paralympics because the Olympians, they had to leave within 24 hours. But because our team was a lot smaller, they didn't have as many flights, which would have cost them a lot of money. So they had a flight, I think 2 flights leaving in the middle of the games and then 2 flights leaving at the end. The middle ones were like just normal flights, but ours would charter at the end. So yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. We got to fly in Qantas. They were really nice, the staff. We had the same staff fly us to Tokyo and fly us back from Tokyo. So they did a quarantine. It was so bad for them. They
had to stay there.
Yeah, well, I think they came back in quarantine in Australia or something.
Oh,
yeah. I couldn't imagine doing that much quarantine.
Well, you had to quarantine when you came back, right?
Yeah, so we had 2 weeks quarantine. Of course, we had to quarantine in Melbourne because they couldn't really let us quarantine in WA because, there wasn't enough people to fly directly to Perth.
Oh, so you would have had to do 2 weeks in Melbourne, then 2 weeks here again.
We actually avoided the 2 weeks in Perth, which is what we were all like very worried about because we're getting in quarantine. We're like, oh my gosh, we got 2 weeks in a hotel here. And they were just starting to get like a bunch of cases. So we were thinking, we're going to have to quarantine back in WA. And we did not want to do that. Yeah, so we had to fly back. I think we had to get back in WA like 12 hours after leaving quarantine. So we left straight from the hotel, straight to the airport, straight on the plane, and then home, which I'm very glad about because I don't think I could have done 4 weeks in a row.
So what's your music what's the kind of go-to? Do you have a playlist? What kind of vibe you have when you're listening to?
So I definitely, every time I go and like compete internationally, I make my own like playlist kind of music that I'm listening to around the times that I have one from Com Games, World Champs, and then Tokyo. I don't know, I find a good way. I can just go back and go, oh, this reminds me of Tokyo, this music. So it's real random music. I don't know. I feel like it's just popular music at the time. I definitely had Stay on there. That was a good song. I don't know. I loved that at the time. But then also some like Fall Out Boy and stuff like that, and just a bit of Macklemore. I don't know. It's real random stuff, which I feel like it just gets me pumped up. I feel like it's definitely not everyone's taste in music, but.
So do you always have to be careful they don't want to pump yourself up too much, like too far away from the race? You don't want to get too aroused too early. Yeah,
definitely don't want to get too excited and then getting to the race and be like, oh, I'm tired now. But yeah, so it's definitely kind of a skill I've been working on because I also do it like local comps. And that's how I practice with the music and stuff. So I treat local comps like they're big comps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still try and do like a make believe like call room so you sit alone?
Yeah. So I definitely like aim to finish my warm up earlier, and then I just sit there and just do some drills and stuff, just waiting for the race to start. And then every time before I race, I always go out in front of the blocks. I take my time to get in the blocks. I'm probably one of those annoying people. I always do like a big jump before I get in the blocks just to fire myself up, and then I get in the blocks. I make sure I get in the blocks perfectly, wipe my hands off, get in the perfect position. Yeah, it's probably really annoying to other athletes, but you have your time.
You're like the Rafael Nadal.
Yes.
This is always the head wipe. They pull the wedgie out and it doesn't step on the line. And
you got to get that.
You got to make sure you do it. He does it every time.
Yep. No, that's what I try to do for comps. Yeah, definitely really annoying because everyone's probably waiting in the blocks like, why is this person taking forever? But
did you watch the Australian Open?
Yeah.
5-hour final, and every 5 hours he was doing
literally. Well, that's what happened. World Champs for me, I think we ended up having to do like 3 different times to get into set because there was just like issues happening. So I did the same thing every time.
So you have to restart from the beginning?
Did the jump, yes, and then I got in, wiped hands because I wanted to be prepared for that start, even though like we had to get called out of the blocks like multiple times. But every time I was like, this is the time it's happening. And you just have to like refocus every time.
It's very important because like it's almost that mindset comes. A lot of people pick out that mindset, but I think it really originated from golf. A lot of golfers they always have for every shot they do, it's always the same routine.
Yeah.
They will do like a practice swing behind the ball, like they'll
Yeah.
visualize
That's
the
very
swing,
true.
and then they'll step to the ball, and it's the same foot, and then they
Yeah.
little swivel, they have a wrist flick, and then they'll follow through with the
Yeah.
shot because it's
Very
the
true.
routine has to be the same every time because you don't want to break the routine.
No,
It's,
yeah.
it's a hard kind of
Yeah, I feel
way
like
to
if you break the
conceptualize
routine,
it.
then you're just like out of it and you're not like
Mm.
as focused and yeah.
Is that is the focus and
Yeah.
visualization?
Visualization. Yeah, I think it's all mental game type thing.
Do you do visualization kind of?
Yeah, so I definitely, especially in the cool room, because you have so much time
Yeah.
just sitting there. I literally just visualize my race. I'm just sitting there, my head down, eyes closed. I'm just pretending I'm coming out of the blocks
Right.
fast. I look weird from like an outside point of view, but I don't know, I feel like it's all in the mental game.
Because I guess the race is from like someone who's watching, it's always the same every time.
Yeah,
But I guess an athlete it's different because you want to. There's focuses on the race. Like
yeah,
drive, like you said,
definitely.
driving a push out the blocks fast. But like
Yeah.
from your eyes, you always want to be the one where you don't see anyone either side.
Yeah,
or
you
in
want to
front
be that one in front. You
Yeah.
you want to be going, and yeah, I think also when you're racing, you kind of just like put like those things that the horses wear, and like you
The
block out
blinders,
everyone
yeah.
the blinders. Yeah, so that's what I feel like I just do. I just ignore the people next to me. I'm running my own race. I've got to be
Mm.
running fast because if I notice the person next to me, I'm going to tense up, and then it's just going to make me slow down when you tense up because you're really just not moving as much.
Right.
So you really just have to ignore everyone. Like you're the only one here. You got to be so selfish in an individual sport.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you it's one of those things you talked about stiffness. There's another thing that's kind of crossover to the fight world as well. One of the things you don't want to be at all
Yeah.
times is stiff because once you're stiff,
Once you're stiff,
Your
you're
opponent,
not
you
going to move. Yeah.
you don't move as freely, and it's
Yeah.
really easy for your opponent to see what you're doing because if you're really stiff, there's only
Mm.
one thing on a throw, and that's a big right hand.
Yeah.
So, and that obviously saying is going to be a detriment to your output because if you're not loose, then you can't
Yeah.
be as whippy. I guess you can't
Yeah.
really move fast.
You can't, get that fast,
'cause
like,
you're so
leg
tense.
speed.
You're
And,
already looking to push, but if you're
Yeah.
relaxed, it's easier to flow through the movement.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, it's definitely.
It's the same in training. That's what you
Yeah.
want to focus on being.
Yeah, exactly. In
loose.
training, I just focus on myself running the race. I train with people who are like very similar speeds to me at
Okay.
training. I've trained with a few able bodies. So it's definitely good to be able to practice that. Practice it like you're running a race, even though you're in training.
Mm. And in your training, let's break it down from a running skill perspective. Do you start with warm up, like your drills? Is it all focus on mechanics of the sprint, and then you kind of go into your working running sets after that, right?
It's definitely, yeah. So with my drills, I do like high knees, which also like helps me like get a bit more like free moving, and then practicing that movement and getting that pattern in my head. So when I actually do run, that pattern is like there and I don't have to really focus on it as much.
Right.
It definitely helps like to keep doing drills, but you've also got to make sure when you do the drills, you do them properly. Because if you're doing them incorrectly and you're just going through the motions, you're really not going to improve. You're not getting that like movement, the correct movement in your head. You're getting it like incorrect, of course, because you're not putting your knees up as high and then you're not as pushing as much and getting your legs straight under you. It's really important drills, even though people don't think it is.
Yeah, just from that, do you do video review? Like, do you coach video and say, oh, you know, make sure you're doing more here because you might think that you're doing that.
Yeah. Well, I think, we definitely video a lot of my reps and stuff. And we go back after each rep and look at it, especially block starts, because
Right.
there's a lot of technical things you need to improve, like very little things. So we always go through the videos and then improve on the next rep. And it's good to have quite a few reps, but of course not too many that you wear yourself out.
What's kind of your specific focus to work on
I think at the moment,
at the moment?
it's definitely the knee lift when I'm running and then striking below myself when I run, because that's very important because you don't want to be overstriding because that means you're going a bit slower. And with the block starts, definitely driving out low and not coming up too much.
So when you say when you start to overstride, means you're going slower. Is that because when you reach out, you break? It's like a braking.
Yeah, it's kind of literally
you're
it's like that. So you're slowing yourself down.
Mm. When you strike underneath because that creates more vertical.
Yeah,
force, right?
even though people think, oh, you're not moving anywhere, but if you're leaning forward, you're still moving and then you're striking below yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to learn about all that stuff because I definitely didn't know it all years ago.
A lot of physics.
Yes, definitely.
Vertical forces and horizontal forces. And because even when you're up top speed, there's still a bit of horizontal force being created because you have to move forwards, right?
Yeah,
You don't just
exactly.
start like this.
No.
How does your gym program fit around your training? How many times a week do you get into the gym?
At the moment, my training is pretty interesting. So I definitely do quite a bit of training, but it's not enough to wear myself out. So Mondays, it's gym and water running. Tuesdays,
Water running?
Water running, yeah. I don't know how to describe it. I started doing it because I had a stress reaction in my right foot 2020. Okay. So it's just a way to keep running and like the running action, but in water. So you're not like striking, on the ground. So you're really just keeping the weight off your feet. And ever since then, I've just continued it on and it's been a good part of my training.
So is there like a treadmill type of thing in the water or do you just do it in a pool?
When I do it at the Institute of Sport and they have like a little whirlpool and it's pretty shallow, but I'm pretty short. So I fit in it perfectly. And you just put like a little belt around you and it keeps you afloat. And I just run against the water. It's pretty easy to do.
And you can focus on technique.
Yeah, and stuff. Exactly. And then do a bit longer reps and stuff. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I feel like, a lot of people don't know about it. It's
a lot of technique work and reps. And it's obviously offloading your weight. So it's not as stressful.
Yes, it's keeping the weight off my feet and making sure they're fine.
So that stage, 2020 was more like a rehab tool to keep going. But now you use it as something you use for technique and extra work.
Extra work, off the track. And then Tuesdays I do core and track. Wednesdays is usually a gym and a bike session. So that's where my 400 comes in. And then Thursdays core and track as well. Fridays is usually off or comp. Saturdays is gym and then Sundays track. So got a decent amount of training in, but it's not
a lot of work.
Like full on too much. I don't know, because it's not back-to-back massive sessions because water running isn't too big and then core's not like super heavy.
So what are your focuses on in the gym? Is it strength, power?
At the moment, it's a bit more power. And then I think after nationals, we're going to go a bit back to strength. So I'm just doing a bit more fast lifts with quite a bit of break between my gym sessions. They take a very long time, which I don't mind. I do it at my coach's house. He has dogs, which I can go and pat between reps. So it's nice. It's a good environment.
Nice. That's a lot better than just going onto your phone in between reps because you kind of get. One of the biggest things that I've focused on, what I've noticed a lot is when I gym a lot or when I do kind of those similar sessions and I go into Instagram and I get real distracted and then I lose myself in the session.
Exactly. So
I guess the dogs is a bit easy. You can kind of
just go pat them.
This is not like in a fake world, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like just the dogs just make you feel happy and it just keeps the training session like very enjoyable.
Yeah. So those speed sessions, what kind of exercise do you do? Box jumps? Is it more like power cleans? I don't do power.
Not at the moment. Box jumps. I am not really good at them after multiple times trying to get on, just scraping the shins. Oh gosh.
Ouch.
Yeah. But I definitely back like a few months ago we were doing that. So I think my gym's very much it's changing over time. And then depending on what type of training I'm doing on the track is depending what gym stuff I do. So at the moment it's a bit of like one day is like deadlift, but one day is like Romanian and then like quarter squat. So it's all very different.
That's cool. Yeah. Do you have a favorite exercise?
I don't know. I really like quarter squat because it's very fast. And you're not like going down too far. It's
not less work.
Yeah, definitely.
What weight do you push?
Oh, quarter squat maybe about 75. Full squat about 60. But I probably could do more now. I've done it in a bit. And then I don't even know what I have to do for deadlift.
Do you have an exercise that you kind of suck at, but you want to you wish you could be really good at, or you'd like to get really good?
I feel like box jump is probably, I feel like I don't suck at it, but like if I could just jump on like the really toolboxes, like just with ease, that would be really nice without embarrassing myself and just toppling over.
Yeah. Do you incorporate plyometrics at all?
Yeah, usually. Yeah.
You do that on like a track?
Yeah, usually more of a track day. So yeah.
Med ball throws?
Yeah, really? Sometimes. Not as much with med ball. Depending on, I feel like it's just depending on the training and I just trust my coach. He writes the program and I kind of like say how I'm feeling during sessions and like we discuss, what the weeks are going to be like. So it's really like good like relationship and like very like open with each other.
We talked about sled work. Do you do the speed sleds? Do you have the sled harness?
Yeah, we usually use that, go on the grass and do it. Yeah, it's quite fun. And then we also have the sled where you push it as well. So
that'll be good for the blocks.
Yeah, definitely. So it's pretty good. We get to kind of use a lot of equipment and adapt training and just be creative with it.
I guess it, because you're a speed athlete, the gym, the big strength stuff doesn't really have to big effect. So you just have to make sure that you're not getting injured, and you can kind of use the gym as a potential improvement in performance. You don't want to be like, oh, my back squat's 200 kilo, I need to get it to 220 and I can run faster. That's not really how it works.
Definitely don't want to be a buff athlete, buff sprinter. Gosh, no.
Do you have kind of, who are like idols you have growing up?
Definitely.
What did you like? Yeah. Is there someone, I'll rephrase the question. Do you have someone that you kind of model your kind of sprint kind of athlete?
I feel like a lot of senior athletes that have come before me, like everyone who's done something like gone to the Olympics or Paralympics, that is pretty like amazing. And I like aspire to like be like them and keep a really long career running. There's definitely quite a few athletes. There's one in particular, Madison De Rosario. She's from WA. I actually roomed with her at Com Games. Very nice person.
When you were 15?
When I was 15. Yeah. So she was really good because she started competing internationally at a very young age. So I was able to kind of, she kind of guidance type thing, just like help me because I was, very nervous. I'm pretty sure she probably was when she started. So it was good to have someone who's been there at such a young age because not a lot of athletes start very young. It's pretty random to be so young in the sport and achieving in the sport. Yeah. So it's definitely her. And then also, I feel like just Kathy Freeman just coming out, of course, like everyone knows the Sydney 2000, just the 400 win. Being that person, just coming out and shocking everyone and be like getting that amazing win. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to aspire to get.
Every time you say 15, like you're so young, makes me think about when I was 15, what I was doing. I can't remember. It must have been that exciting. Or like I wasn't doing what you were doing, so it's pretty wild.
I think definitely my childhood, like of course I got to live up to 15, like just a normal child. I still have like a normal life as a 19-year-old, but it's definitely made me kind of grow up a bit faster, which I'm not complaining about. To be able to go to the Commonwealth Games, not a lot of people can say they've done that.
Mm. And obviously you've been at school.
Yeah.
Did you have to take time? Like, did you have to?
Yeah, for Games, I took probably most of semester 1 off. So, but I was year 10, so it wasn't that important. And then year 11 was World Champs, which I was in Dubai when my exams were going on. So I had to cram all my exams right after I got back from Dubai into 1 week. I didn't really study much in Dubai. So it was definitely hard to do that. At least it was at year 11. And then year 12, at least the Paralympics were postponed by a year.
Right, so that would have been the year.
That would have been my year 12 year. So I'm very glad. I shouldn't say glad, but it worked as a blessing in disguise that the Paralympics was postponed so I could focus on my year 12. I ended up getting a way better ATAR than I thought I was, got into a better uni course. So it all kind of worked out. And then also with my injuries and stuff, it definitely gave me a bit of a bonus to have that extra year because I don't know how I would have run in Tokyo in 2020.
So that injury that you talked about, was that the foot?
Yeah, so it was a stress reaction, my third metatarsal. So it wasn't quite a stress fracture, but it could have got there. So at least we caught it like early, but I had to wear a moon boot for about a month. I actually had to wear that to my ball, my school ball. At least I had a long dress at least, so it was covered. It was fine. But I think that was probably one of the hardest parts of my career, just watching everyone else compete because I don't know why. I went down and watched competitions because I was just missing it. And I didn't realize how much I would miss like running because when I do like training, I'm like, oh, I have to go to training. But that really changed my mindset around training now. Like now I want to go to training, like knowing what it feels like to be told you can't run. Like it just makes me more motivated to train now.
Because it was such a long time.
Yeah.
Because it's just, you say a month in the moon
About a month in the moon.
And then obviously it's a reloading
a long
process.
time to get back up running. And then, so it was definitely a really hard time, especially like first major injury type thing on a Paralympic year because the Paralympics hadn't been postponed when I did it. So I was very nervous. But I'm very glad I had a lot of support around me. My foot is great now, so still running. Yeah. And then also last year before the Paralympics, about 2 days before we left to go to Tokyo, I strained my hamstring.
No.
Yeah. So
That's
that
not what
was
you want as a sprinter.
God, no, it's definitely not. So I had to have like an MRI and stuff. I definitely kept it like under wraps because I don't want my competition knowing, oh, she's messed up her hamstring. So literally about like the 2 weeks before my race, I was doing
2
jogging training, just jogging. And then like probably had about 2 sprint sessions before I competed.
So was that a grade 1? Did you do a grade 1?
Yeah, just a
Okay.
grade 1. So thank
That's
goodness it
lucky.
wasn't like, anything
So-
worse.
What kind of stuff did you have to do, like a rehab? Did you do any BFR, blood flow restriction, cuff?
No.
sort of stuff? No.
I don't know. I think we just kind of just kept the training light and just hoped it decided to
Yeah.
work by the time I
Back in.
got to Tokyo. So I think that was pretty stressful. It was literally
Yeah.
just from a block start. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah,
So
I
it was
just
a high,
felt
was it
it
high hammy?
go. Actually low.
Oh, low.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't even know what happened. Just felt like burning and yeah,
Feel like
I'd
a cramp?
never done. Yeah, kind of like that.
Mhm.
I'd never done anything to my hamstring beforehand, so that was
Pretty scary?
Really scary. Yeah.
Mm.
But you know what? I got into the line in Tokyo. It felt fine, thank goodness, when I was running in Tokyo. So what we all did,
Yeah.
like having all that medical support, like staff around is very helpful because on a team you've got doctors and physios, everyone's looking out for you. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
definitely helpful. And
Yep.
then I've also had like ankle issues as well, which
Ankles.
back at like start of 2020 and kind of the end of it. So I had some cortisone injections into that.
Just because there's so much load going through.
Yeah, exactly.
so much.
So
And I guess when you do your training, how much is on grass and how much is on the track?
a lot of it's on the track, like all my
Okay,
3
that's
track
very
sessions
hard.
on the track.
Yeah.
But I definitely find going on the track better for my ankles as well. Cause except for the low, like it's really hard on them. But when I run on grass, I have very like weak ankles. So they just roll very suddenly and it's just usually end up with
Mhm.
sprained ankles quite often.
Because the grass is soft. and-
Yeah.
When you're running on grass, do you wear your runners or do you wear like you have
Depending on
specific shoes, right?
Yeah, usually it's depending on what part of the season if I'm running on grass, but like
Okay.
if it's nice, like even surface grass, because they have like a UWA oval,
Yep.
that's like very good. It's very well maintained. Like no other sports play on that because
Oh yes, very.
especially when you're like footy players, the grass is
don't
just gonna it's gonna be like very
Yeah.
uneven and very
Always one side of the
dangerous.
ground.
Yeah.
Because always, especially when you go to footy clubs where they warm up before the start of training, there's always one part of the
Yeah.
oval they always do the kicks on. And that's always that part of the oval that turns to shit
Yeah.
first because they're always on it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good having like grass areas that are
Mhm.
specific for athletics because we kind of need our space and
Oh, of
Yeah.
course.
need nice grass.
And talk about the shoes. You have specific running like track shoes. Are they?
Yeah.
I've seen them, but I've never held one before.
Yes,
They're very light and
they are very light.
and they've got like no sole. It's
well,
that right?
yeah,
Oh, really?
well, actually the new ones I've got. So I've had so many different spikes. I've tried out everything. So there's different spikes for sprinting, middle distance, and then long distance, and then long jump, and then javelin and shot put and discus, all those, like every different types of shoes. I would hate to be a heptathlete. So at least I only need like one pair of spikes. So I have usually one for training and then one for competition as well. I've been trying like the new Nike ones with like the cushioning in them.
Oh, a little bit of
They
cushion.
were really big, like around Tokyo time. They just came out. Gosh, a funny story with that. I got my shoes about a week before I competed in Tokyo. So I had to,
Oh, no.
as long with the hamstring, I had to learn how to like run in these new spikes because I was determined to use them. They're pretty cool. Like it's a little bit like cushiony, like a little trampoline, like air pocket type thing. I don't know. I
Right.
feel like you get spring off them. I don't know. There's not much studies around them, but they're really cool shoes.
So there is a bit of science behind the shoes.
Yeah. Nike's really like, because
I
the
know,
Nike
yeah.
ones, they're like really going forward with their shoes. And I think like they're one of the first people to like create these ones. They're quite expensive. I think $250, but worth it. They last a while. Yes, I've used like lots of different spikes. I also use like another pair, which I wore a different pair for my 400 meters in Tokyo.
Did you have to take your own separate bag?
Yeah, I
shoes?
literally, my gosh, my bag is full of different things. Like when I go compete, I don't want to take one pair of shoes. I want to take multiple pairs so
Right.
I can have backups just in case a shoe breaks or something. And then also got spare spikes because you need the little spikes to go in the shoes. You have to turn them in. I always wear like green and gold ones because why not?
Oh, yeah.
Australia colors.
And that just give you more grip, or is it?
Yeah, so yeah, the bike shoes are designed to have like, yeah, they have little holes and then you screw the individual spikes in.
Mhm.
And yeah, so when you go on the track, they kind of grip and push you off as well. So
That's
yeah.
why.
And they're like all the shoes are designed very differently. Like sprint ones are very minimalistic, middle distance ones have a heel, long jump ones have a bigger heel, and then like javelin has spikes at the front, like the toes and the heels of the
Okay, yeah,
shoes.
so obviously when they push.
So yeah, so it's
Hmm.
yeah, a lot of science is behind running shoes, and they've definitely improved over the years.
Yeah.
Seeing like old spikes.
But like you said, it's a lot of it's still on feel. Like if
Yeah.
you don't like, even if the science is like this is the
Yeah,
best shoe, if you don't feel
exactly.
like it's any good, then it's not going to be. Any
Yeah,
good.
it's definitely on feel because a lot of athletes have got different like feet type, a lot of high
Yes.
arches, low arches. So
Things are
also
different.
like yeah, shoes how they fit. Spikes have to be very tight, so they kind of like
Oh.
fit like a sock. So you put them on for the race, and then after the race, you see a lot of athletes taking them off just because they're just so tight, and you just want to get them off your feet.
They're
'Cause,
uncomfortable.
yeah,
Mm.
and you need them to be tight because you don't want like a bunch of toe area just like tripping you up at the race.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
So yeah, they fit like socks. and then-
exactly.
Do your feet like get all compressed?
Yeah, sometimes. Well, I notice sometimes when I run, my feet get very hot, like especially when the track's hot as well. So it's it's not the most comfortable pair of shoes,
No, I can imagine.
but like I think when you wear them more, you get more used to them.
Yeah. Is there a period of how long you have to like? Is there a life wear on them? Like, do you want a couple of races and then they're no good because they're too loose, or
I think they last like a pretty long
last a long
time
time.
because they're pretty good like material. Like
Yeah.
when you pay a decent amount of money from, you want them to last, and especially when it's only like a 12-second race, it's pretty
Yeah.
short, so you're not wearing them out too much. But a lot of athletes, I don't know why they do this. They walk in like concrete with them, which just wears them down. Which
they
Yeah.
walk on concrete with the spikes
with
on?
the spikes on,
That's
yeah. And then like the heels also have like just like little like kind of inbuilt like spiky parts that are like a bit rough on the bottom. And then
Yeah.
if you wear them down, they're kind of a bit useless. So you see a lot of athletes like just walking around no shoes on because you don't want to destroy your shoes on the concrete.
Do you have the same mentality like myself? I do the same. Like when I lift weights, low reps and heavy weight for me is the best. For you, is it short sprints, high intensity effort, and then anything over 400 meters? It's too much.
Yes, exactly. I feel like sprinters, I don't know, I wouldn't say them like lazy, but kind of lazy type thing, especially like me. Like I don't want to run an 800. I've done it before. I'm never going to do it again. I'm just too lazy to run that far. And it's just, it's,
Doesn't feel good, right?
no, it doesn't.
Same thing. I don't. If I was to run, it's just short interval running, and then
Yeah.
like 30 on, 30 off. Is not like I'm not running 2 minutes. Ugh.
Yeah, it's
Crap.
too much effort.
Like I'm not doing 10 reps of squats. It's like 5's max,
Yeah, 5, yep.
or that's actually 4 reps too many. It's 1 rep.
1 rep is great.
One and done, baby.
Yep.
So do you listen to any podcasts to kind of get an insight into how other athletes kind of prepare mentally, or do you kind of like to do your own thing and learn off your own experiences?
Yeah, I definitely like to learn off like other athletes, just listen to like random podcasts or even watch like just videos of people like showing drills, because I feel
Right.
like when you can see it, you know what to do. Like it's the more you see it and like the different ways people explain it can definitely help. So I definitely like watching videos. There's also some like TikTokers who do like running videos, which is pretty cool because it also like teaches other people who are like kind of low levels, but it also kind of reinforces ideas and gives you a new way of thinking about exercises. And then I'm one person who likes to watch other people do reps. Like if I'm having a break between block starts, I'll watch like my other like training partners. I'll watch them do their block starts, and I would pick out things like, of course, they're doing wrong, but also the things they're doing right, and then think of what I need to change in mine. And it's just pretty much just watching and learning. I really enjoy like watching other people race. I go back and watch my previous races as well. I go back and watch like the top men in the world do their race and just kind of get ideas from them.
Wow. Do you think, I know it's a long way down the track, but do you feel like you could go into the coaching?
Yeah, I definitely want to do that. I think I'm kind of looking at doing my level 1 coaching for athletics and just maybe start off with little athletics coaching, because I'm still like learning as an athlete. I definitely do not know everything. And I feel like people thinking that athletes, they're going to be the most amazing coaches while they're still competing. They're probably not, because they're still learning themselves. So I think definitely retired athletes are probably one of the better ones because they've been through the whole career.
Mm,
It's definitely, you need that experience to be able to
right.
coach. So I might, start with a
Yeah.
little athletics coaching. I also, at the moment, I'm doing swim teaching, which is very different to running, but it's a pretty good job, and getting that experience with teaching, it's quite nice.
Yeah. Well, teaching's almost the same across everything because teaching
Yeah.
and coaching are the same.
Yeah.
You're teaching a skill like English or learning how
Yeah.
to write. That's the same if I'm going to use a lot of coaching.
Yeah, because you have
lot
to
of-
reinforce
Yes,
the stuff.
reinforcing,
Yeah.
standards and making sure that you're able to present and communicate effectively to who you're going to coach or teach.
Yeah,
It's the same.
exactly.
When I went through coaching, it's you do a couple lessons like teaching units, so
Yeah.
you learn how to teach because it's the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you-
So you
it's-
focus on things. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's almost I got a feel that there's almost like two types of athletes. There's an athlete who just does the sport or he just does it, like doesn't really
Yeah.
ask questions, but it's almost naturally gifted and can execute. But there's another one that has all of that, but likes to be detailed and has an eye for detail, likes to watch and like to learn about the sport as well. That's almost you fit into that
Yeah.
category.
I think, definitely having that motivation to learn outside of training, not just rock up to training and be like, oh, I'm just here to train, I'm going to get the session over and done with, but really thinking about it and really just going through the motions of the thing. Probably just, you really just need to focus
Mhm.
on everything, because you're probably not going to get anywhere if you're just rocking up to training, completing the session, just like a tick to the session. You've just got to kind of go
Yeah.
a bit above and beyond.
Yeah.
Sometimes there is training sessions where you're tired and it's hard to be motivated. Sometimes it's sessions you just want to just tick off just to do the sessions, but like most of them probably should be you're actually doing the
Engaged.
sessions and like thinking engaged. Yeah.
Do you now that you finished school last year? What are you uni this year? What are you doing?
Well, yeah, I finished 2020, and then I started uni last year.
Yeah.
I only did 2 units for semester 1 and then took semester 2
Yeah.
off with Tokyo.
Yeah.
So I'm doing wildlife conservation at
Oh, wow.
UWA. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Well, from the biology units I've done so far, it's
What's the kind of interest? you turned to that?
I don't know. I always just wanted to work with animals, and I knew veterinary studies as an elite athlete, that's not really on the cards, having to study full time, and it's really like
Okay.
hard on you. So I think this was just like a next best thing, and I just want to really just work with animals and just help like preserve animals and just stop them from becoming extinct, and do that research and just really just learn more about them.
Do you have outside of your studies and your training and doing podcasts like this one? What else do you do in your spare time? Do you kind of get away? Like, do you trying to not think about?
Yeah, I feel like during my spare time, well, besides from like uni as well, just kind of go hang out with my friends. I love going shopping. Yeah, and definitely like spending some money at the shops and just hanging out with friends. And yeah, I'm not really much of a party person, never been clubbing at the age of 19.
Oh, really?
I know. Well, it's just when I turned 18, I was really like heavy training for the Paralympics and really like involved in school. So I feel like
Sacrifice.
sacrifice. I definitely can still like go to people's houses,
Have
like
fun.
have a little party, but not really the most party person, and definitely no like drinking around training. So it's definitely boring
Oh, yeah.
person. Designated driver, that's fine.
Yeah. I went when I was 18. Just after I turned 18, I did 12 months. No alcohol.
Wow.
Because I was held like bodybuilder. I want to try to lift weights. I want to maximize my gains.
Mm.
No alcohol for me. I just used to go
Yeah,
out. I still like went out and stuff. I just didn't drink.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's weird.
Like
Just to have fun without it.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
I was like,
Just wants drinking the water.
It'd be like 1 o'clock and I'm like, okay, it's time for bed.
Literally. Oh yes. No, I definitely love my sleep. So
How many hours of sleep do you?
I definitely
9
try to
hours?
get like 9 hours at least sleep. Definitely with training earlier. I have to be that boring one. Just go to sleep early.
Are you an early morning
Yeah,
trainer?
some training. I really don't like training in the morning early. But sometimes I have to do like gym at like 6 or 7 a.m. just to get it over and done with during the day, just to fit with
I
my
like
coach's schedule. I think it's good. I think once you're up and you're doing
Yeah.
the sessions and like you just kind of, it helps your day. You just keep
Yep.
moving along.
I like doing gym early because there's no other no other distractions or nothing else has worn me down through the day. Because like you start the day with 100% batteries, right? And then if you're going to work out later in the day, then you have got to work and that drains a bit of battery. And then someone pisses you off at work, that drains the battery more. Then by the time you go to train, it's like 40%.
You're tired,
And I'm like, oh, I really can't give a high effort and do all that. If you were to have dinner with 4 people, any 4 people, who would you choose?
Okay. Oh, do they have to be sports people? Could just anyone?
Anyone. Any 4 people.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go with Chris Hemsworth because he's amazing. Also, Thor. At Com Games, funny story. Chris Hemsworth and Usain Bolt were at the track on the night of my event. I wish I met them. That would have been so cool. I would definitely say Usain Bolt because like he would give some awesome tips.
We have some good stories.
Who's another person? Harry Styles. I love Harry Styles. So that's definitely, he could just like do a little private concert because he's not coming to Australia anymore. So that would be very nice if he could do that. Oh, who's another person? Oh.
Last one.
Maybe I should do an athlete. We'll just go Kathy Freeman because she's pretty awesome. Like really, I feel like a down-to-earth person. Never met her. That'd be cool to meet her. I think, that would be
where
pretty
would you
cool
go?
dinner. Ooh.
What would you have?
What would we have?
Would you cook? Can you cook?
Oh gosh, no. I would definitely say I'm not the best cook. I can cook decent, like basic meals. That would be a bit embarrassing to cook for Chris Hemsworth. No. Maybe we'll just go out for dinner. Surely they're rich. They can like
they're going to pay out that?
Yeah, surely they can. We'll just go for like a really bougie restaurant maybe.
In Perth or you can go anywhere? Where would you go?
I feel like somewhere in like Paris would be nice.
Have you been out like traveling at all?
Not really. The only traveling I've really done outside of athletics is kind of just going to Indonesia and Bali. Okay. Really, I like going there. It's quite enjoyable. Being on like a cultural tour with school.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I really like just learning about different cultures and just being immersed in that. And then other than that, the only place I've been to is Dubai for World Champs and Tokyo for Paralympics, and both of them I didn't really get to do much, especially Tokyo, which is only things we saw was on a bus, and then just at the track we didn't really get to go to shops and stuff, which is sad.
Do you have a favorite Chris Hemsworth movie? He's been in a couple. Is it the Marvel ones that you like the most?
I love Marvel movies. Yeah. You know what? Just the original Thor. That's a good movie. Marvel movies.
He's almost ripped exactly out of the comics, right? Like he looks exactly like that.
I know. He's just perfect
in every way, except
for Endgame, of course. But you know what? He still looks great.
He's so funny.
Looks great. Fat. That's fine.
He's just got that charisma.
Oh gosh, yeah. That's pretty cool. Maybe one day I'll get to meet him. Maybe he'll come to another event.
Do you follow AFL footy at all?
Yeah, usually, yeah.
Are you a Western Bulldogs supporter?
Eagles.
Oh, you're an Eagles.
Eagles, yeah.
He's a Western Bulldogs like #1 ticket holder. So if you're a Western Bulldogs supporter, you can probably tag along, get a box seat with him maybe.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's time for the Uncle Frank's questions like we talked about at the start. So new segment on the podcast. He hit me up on Tuesday.
What are we going to get?
And he gave me a whole bunch of questions and I've put him in a hat and you have to pick one. All right, I'll shake it up and mix it up. Time for a change, Uncle Frank. Ready? Pick one.
Okay.
All right.
That one.
Read it out.
Okay.
Read it out.
Oh, wow, it's a long one. Is there something that you've dreamed of doing for a long time? Why haven't you done it? Oh, I don't know what I don't know, maybe I don't know if there's anything I've really dreamed of doing. I feel like I've achieved most of the stuff I've like dreamed of doing, like going to the Paralympics. I think maybe just trying stuff, like new stuff. Maybe trying like a new type of sport, maybe. That would be, I feel like that'd be interesting. Of course, not a dangerous sport. I feel like what there is. I've done a lot of sports in my like time, so maybe going somewhere, like going to like Italy. I really want to go to Italy. I think that's something I've dreamed of doing, and just having just a nice tour, even just going around Europe, which we might actually do before Com Games. So maybe I'll be able to do that, achieve that.
Where's the Com Games this year?
That's going to be in Birmingham. So yeah, England. So
that's cool.
yeah, it would be interesting. I think the accommodation, apparently it's not going to be like the most amazing accommodation. It's going to be uni accommodation.
Oh, really?
But you know what? Being able to go travel,
That'd be pretty cool.
yeah, travel and just that team environment, Com Games 2018, that was amazing. Especially your home games, like having all those athletes, because at the Com Games they include like, well, they have able bodies and paras. So
they
it's mixed together.
Oh,
so I
that's
get to be able to kind of, talk to the able body athletes, and they get to, learn a bit more about para sport. And I think everyone really gets to be able to have like a recognition of para sport and understand it instead of just kind of like, oh, it's there. So I think it's great to include para athletes at Com Games.
Mm.
Definitely you could include more athletes. I think after Com Games 2018, I don't know, I think it was like Mark McGowan was saying how we should combine the Paralympics and Olympics. I don't actually think we should do that.
Oh, really?
A lot of para athletes don't think it, because it's already 2 weeks long for the Paralympics and it's 2 weeks long for the Olympics. Combining those two, that's going to be a month's worth of sport just in a row. And I feel like it could take away from the Paralympics because
you're stacking them both against each other,
stacking them both against each other.
Usually there's a break in between. How long?
Yeah, there's a
couple of weeks,
like
isn't
2-week break between, which is, it's a nice break. But also another thing, I think the Paralympics like definitely need a lot more recognition. Tokyo was amazing. Like a lot of people with COVID sitting at home watching it. There was a lot more people watching the games and talking about it a bit more. It'd be nice if they kind of didn't really talk about it in terms of we're kind of a novelty thing and it's like so inspirational. Watching para athletes, we're athletes, we're there, we do the training, we work as hard as Olympians. We're not just like little showcase events or like a circus thing where we're just inspirational to other people. I think that's another thing. And also broadcasting is getting a lot better. We got a lot more coverage on Channel 7, did a lot of interviews with them, which was pretty cool. But I think another thing is they're really focused on the Olympics and everything, all the ads when I'm watching the Olympics say, this show is going to start after the Olympics. Why not after the Paralympics? Why after the Olympics? I think we deserve to have that 2 weeks where all the eyes are on us, not on these new shows. You can wait an extra few weeks. I think just, give us a bit more recognition for what we do and just stop kind of making us just look like we're just a specialty and just like, anyone can go to the Paralympics, because not anyone can go to the Paralympics. Just because you're disabled does not mean you can go to the Paralympics. I think that's what a lot of people have to learn, because it's a hard thing to get to. It took me a lot of training to get to, and I was very lucky to be able to go to the Paralympics at the age of 19, which is quite special. But it's a hard reality that not everyone's going to get there, and I think people just need to realize it's elite sport and it's sport at its finest, and it's improved so much. My classification back in 2016, the time I ran in Tokyo probably would have made me medal for both 1 and 4. But now in Tokyo, I got 5th and 7th because the classifications, they're growing and everyone's improving. It's pretty cool.
One of the things that you mentioned as well is that just because you're labeled as a para, that's not who you like. You're just a normal person.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, I have a disability and it's not like the one thing that defines me. Like I want to be seen as a human.
Right.
But also I don't want my disability to be ignored because it's a part of me. I can't get rid of it. And I don't want people to kind of overshadow that and like cross over the word disability and be like, oh, like I don't really want to talk about that. I feel like people, they're so shy of the word disability, but it's in our community. Like so many people have disabilities. I think we just need to kind of understand it more and just become more confident with the word.
Right. And there was also as well this year they had, was it Scott Morrison they gave money for the medalists the first time this year?
That was so amazing. They actually, because it's pretty unfair. The Olympians, they got a medal bonus when they got 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Paralympians got nothing bonus. So now we're equal, which is just showing how the world is kind of like moving along. It's quite sad that they actually had to do like campaigns to change it because it should have been there in the first place. But at least it's happening now because the world is evolving. We need to just keep moving on.
Do you know who raised how that all started? Did you hear about that?
I think I did.
Female athlete.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
So Chloe Dalton, I really want to get her on the podcast just because I think what she's been doing, because she obviously sevens rugby sevens. I think she was in the Olympics in Rio. I can't. Don't quote me on that. But then she also plays for Carlton, AFLW, and then used to play for Carlton. Now plays for GWS. And I've won her t-shirts and stuff. So, and I follow her a lot. So
Yeah, I think
she's
it's
done-
pretty
she's done a
cool.
lot
Like,
of different
especially
things
like
like
an
that.
able-bodied athlete, like campaigning
Yeah.
for para athletes. Like, it's good because instead of just us doing all the work, we actually have people like supporting
Exactly,
us. I
yeah.
think that's really amazing. And like what she's been doing for like female athletes, that's pretty cool as well. Like,
Amazing.
yeah, I think definitely being a female and a para athlete as well, because and a sport of athletics is definitely not as much funding in it. You would think like I'd be able to live like off funding, but I definitely cannot. I have to get a
No.
job as well.
Yes.
It'd be nice if I was in a sport where I could literally just like AFL and stuff, you just do your sport, but it's definitely not the
Yeah.
case.
There's 2 or 3 things with that. But one of the things that people often overlook is when you do have to focus on one sport, there's a lot more pressure that falls on your ability to keep getting results.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of footy players and guys have to commit to a career in a sport, trying to deal with a lot of mental pressure. And especially when you have scrutiny from the media, and it's really hard to shut out outside forces like social media and
Definitely.
trolls makes
Yes.
your life a lot harder. So there's that aspect as well. And in my opinion on the pay thing is that I reckon the Olympics is a massive fraud because the IOC makes so much money
They
off
do.
of the media coverage, like how much the TV rights. They make that much money and
Where
all
does
the
it go?
commercials. Yeah. And it goes straight into their pockets and they
Yeah.
don't give it out to the people who actually have to do the sport.
Yeah.
Like if I watch for you to run. I
Yeah.
don't want to pay for them. They're not doing
No,
anything. They're
I know
hosting
there's
the
so many
event.
advertisements as well. Like,
Mm.
yeah, they pay a lot of money, like the companies, to advertise on this. There's a lot of money going into it, but
The athletes don't,
athletes'
so-
pockets, they don't really get much. What we get is usually money from the Australian
It's from
Institute
the
of Sport.
government. Yeah, the
so
government
the
pays.
government. So I think
It's
it
not IOC.
definitely would be better, especially for athletics, because it's not. I feel like it's not a sport that's as widely like broadcast as footy.
No.
Like, not as many people watch it as much. So of course, there's not as many sponsors in it. It would be cool if a lot more people would watch. I find it very interesting because there's so many events you can watch. I definitely understand it's not everyone's cup of tea to watch athletics, but definitely, hopefully, in future years, it'll become bigger and then more sponsors will jump
Right.
on board. But it's an individual sport as well. So you have to go find your own individual sponsor. With footy teams, it's kind of like
so you have to
get
do
one.
you do that yourself?
Yeah, so currently I don't have one. Hopefully get a nice one in the future, but it's pretty hard to get like a company like Nike or something like that. I definitely got a lot of like brands reaching out to me. I've had
cool.
quite a few awesome brands, like some of them not even involved in sport, just to do with social media, which is pretty cool to be able to promote brands. And then some of them, like, they found me through sport. I think that's pretty awesome. It's definitely what I want to do more of, is my social media.
Yes, like coming on this podcast. Like
Yeah,
this?
exactly. I know. I definitely want to promote myself and, yeah, just get really involved in the media, and also like just to promote disability in sport, and then also show people that disability is not a one size fits all. That's what I always say to people, because when you see me, you can't tell I'm disabled.
No.
So a lot of people, yeah, will try to ignore the fact when I say I'm disabled. They just kind of glance over it. And I think we need to, yeah, show all the types of different disabilities, because you're not, like, a disabled person's not always in a wheelchair and they're not always visibly disabled. So it's, yeah, that's what I kind of want to do, and just like teach people, like the future generations, because we need to grow up in a world where we're not hiding from disability, where it's just normal. You see someone at the shops with a disability and you're not like staring at them. It's just normal. That's what we need to grow up in a world.
I think you've done a perfect job at explaining all of that and letting everyone know we live in a society that needs to be more open and
Definitely
live with each other.
Yeah.
And not to point and stare and
Yeah, exactly.
you're not making fun, but it's more like you've never seen it before.
Yeah, and then also not to, like, if you see someone, like, hide your like face and like not look at them. You can look at them, but don't like stare at them.
Make a point.
So I think just look at them, smile, because we're literally human. We're not like aliens. We're from planet Earth.
you make a perfect point. So before we wrap it up, do you want to let everyone know where they can find you on Instagram? And
yeah, so you can find me on Instagram.
What's your handle?
Rhiannon Clarke _, and then my Facebook is just Rhiannon Clarke. Maybe I'll make a TikTok in the future, so maybe I'll get onto that.
I need to start a TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm old, like obviously I'm older. I use the Instagram Reels.
Oh yeah,
Keep everything's in one place.
Very similar anyways.
It's the same, but it's all the old people use. That's what my girlfriend. She's older than me, but let's let everyone know. Anyway, so yeah, thanks. You want to shout anyone out? Anyone to thank?
I don't know, just thank my awesome coach and my awesome training partners, Kinetic Track Squad. We're pretty awesome. And then, yeah, just thank everyone who supported me. And then thank you for having me on the
No worries, it's been
podcast. Really enjoyed it.
No, it was an honor to have you on. So thank you very much,
Awesome.
Rhiannon.
Thank you.
And all the best for Comp Games. When's that?
Thank you.
When is it?
Oh, it's like August, early August. So it's coming up very soon.
Almost there.
Yeah.
I have a little, almost 4-month-old, so we'll sit here with a little. We don't know if it's a boy or a girl yet, so we'll have a little.
Chuck them in the Aussie colours.
Yeah, a little yellow top with your little name.
Oh, very cute.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on the
Thank
podcast,
you.
mate. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you.